Hi student, this is video number 5 for the list. Let's say I have this question. Create a program for a teacher who wants to create lists for his class students. So let's say the teacher, he wants to add the student name one by one, and the program will ask the teacher to add the name of student number 1, after that to add the student number 2, to add the student number 3, until the teacher chooses to exit. In this case, we have to create the program with this way to help the student to create the list. So how we can start something like that? I'm going to open a new file calling working with lists, and I'm going to try first of all to create an empty list, because I don't know, I cannot assume the names of the students. I want to create a program to any teacher. So I'm going to say class list, and I'm going to assign to this variable like an empty list, and you see right away empty list, it's going to be empty with this way. For sure, if I need the program to ask him to add number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 until the teacher will choose to exit, here maybe I need to use the while loop, and I can say while true. In this case, it's gonna work until I'm gonna break down the program to stop. Now I need to assign the names of the students, so I'm gonna create a variable called name, and I'm gonna ask the teacher using the input command to enter the name of the student. So I'm going to say enter the name of student number, and here I'm going to close the message, and I'm going to concatenate. I want to create number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. So how it's gonna change one by one? So I can use the lengths of the list. So if the list has 0, I'm gonna ask for number 1. If the list is 3, the length of the list is 3, that means there is 3 students already, and I want to ask for number 4, I can add 1. So how can I do that? I can say what? I'm gonna use the length function of my list. So my list called class list, and this length I'm gonna add to it 1. But don't forget, this length class list plus 1, this is an integer. It's gonna return integer. I cannot concatenate integer with enter the name of student number, so I have to add this and force it to be string using the str. So transfer the length of the class list plus 1 to a string, and here I have to make sure that the opening bracket 1, 2 is exactly like the closing bracket 1 and 2, and here I can continue by concatenating something else. So here enter the name of student number. So the first one is going to be 0, the length is going to be 0, 0 plus 1 is going to be 1, and we're going to change that to string. So that means enter the name of student number 1, which is great at the first time that we're going to ask the teacher to enter the first student. Now I want to give an option to the teacher to tell the teacher you have an option to exit at any time. So or let's say enter nothing to stop. And I can add this into like a bracket like that, and close with double quotation, and after that close the input bracket. So I have to make sure 100% that the opening bracket is the same number as closing bracket. So here 2 opening, 2 closed, so I finalize with this. This bracket it's to be written in the message, and I have this bracket of the first one for the input. So that means the teacher will see something like that, and I assigned already what the teacher will enter as a name to name. Now, if this name is empty, equal to empty list or empty name, that means the teacher chose to break, to stop. So I can say if name is empty, break. With this way, I guarantee that as soon as the teacher will not enter any name, it's gonna go out. Now, what about if the second question, enter the student number 2, enter the student number 3, enter the student number 4, and so on. I want to concatenate the new name to the list. So I'm gonna take the class list and I'm gonna assign to it the class list that it exists already, and I'm gonna concatenate the new name or the new value that it entered to name to this class list. So that means I need to concatenate the new name to the class list that exists to create a new class list. And after that, I can, at the end, when I finish the while true and it's gonna break and everything done, it's gonna print, let's say, your, oops, double quotation, your class list, or the name of your student, the name of your student, the name of your student are, and colon like that. I close with the double quotation with this way. And here I need to print all the names. So how can I do something like that instead of saying print name number 1, number 2, number 3, and so on? So I can say for the name, I'm going to create a variable called name in the class list, and I need that you take all these names and print it with this way. And let's say I need to leave a gap, like shift space or something like that, so I can make something like that and take one space and quotation, and I'm gonna ask to add to this one the name of the student. So that means what? That means it's gonna go to the class list, take the first one, print it. After that, make a loop. Second one, print it. Third one, print it. Fourth one, print it, and so on. So let's see if this is gonna work as we want. So if I run it, oops, I'm gonna click OK to save it. So here we go. Enter the name of student number 1. It took number 1 because it's empty, it's 0, but we added 1, so it's gonna be 1. Or enter nothing to stop. So I'm gonna say, no, I need to enter Natalie to be the first student. Enter. It asks me the same question, but you see here, instead of number 1, it's number 2. Why? Because when I enter Natalie, the length it became 1. 1 plus 1 is gonna come as 2. So if I'm gonna write Michelle, I'm assuming it's gonna tell me number 3. If I'm gonna say, let's say Martin, no, number 4. If I say, let's say Victoria, after that Mariana, you see here, I decided to enter, and after that when it's gonna ask me enter number 6, and let's say this is a number that I want it and I want to stop, it's saying or enter nothing to stop. So when I click enter without any name, it should break, because we said if name is empty, break. So now I'm gonna break. As soon as I can break it, it's gonna tell me the name of your students are, and you see the gap that I asked for it here. There is a gap and the name. So it took Natalie, Michelle, Martin, Victoria, and Mariana. I hope you understood how I can create a short program, a short code, to ask the teacher to add as he wants, the number that he wants, and it tell him how many students he has or she has. And after that, when the teacher choose to break and go out of this loop, they can click enter, and after that it print the list of the name of the student. I hope you understood the lesson, and thank you for listening.